Thursday, 27th of March, 2025. And in this evening's show, we preview this weekend's up-and-coming Lancashire derby against Bolton as they pull up to make a dent in the Wanderers' playoff hopes, while attempting to keep the faint embers burning of our own unlikely push for sixth spot. We also look back on a couple of matches since last pod. Somehow, that defeat against Orient and last Saturday's great away win at Northampton. I'm John Spellman. This is the Seaside's podcast match preview show, Blackpool versus Bolton Wanderers. Good evening, Blackpool fans. Welcome back to the Seaside's podcast. Been a while since we were last on the panel this evening. Matt, Nick, and Tim. Tim, I'm afraid I was on holiday. That's why we couldn't pod last week to a place that a Tim-style holiday. I went to St. Moritz in Switzerland. I can just imagine you wandering around there with your red chinos on.
St. Moritz, please. Can we have a bit of decorum? St. Moritz. You could take the lad out of Lancashire, but you can't take the Lancashire out of the lad.
Ironically, I met a woman from Bolton on in the gondola station, chatting to her.
So were you supping Aperol Spritz with your little finger stuck up?
Aperol Spritz, yes, that's what they drink. Yeah. I had one drink and didn't like it, so I stuck to lager on the self-service beer tap that was in the.
I saw that, yeah.
The Club Med restaurant, superb. Mark, that's like a dream come true for you, isn't it? Your own beer tap that you can go to and drink from whenever you like, and do a strong continental lager in it.
That sounds very dangerous to me personally. But yeah, it's funny. I mean, talking of health and all the rest of it, I thought I'd show you this actually. I don't know if you can see that. I've got one of these. It's a bit blurry because in my background, but I've got one of these. That's 8 tablets a day I'm currently on because of this bloody heart thing. So I have to do this every month.
I thought it was a selection box.
Yeah, I know. I wish it was. That's the problem. It started with having loads of selection boxes. 9 months of a year instead of just at Christmas.
Nick, I think if someone had presented a load of tablets from when we were in our early 20s, that may have been a more...
very different tablets these days, John.
Yeah, a nice selection. Certainly would have been a big friend of ours, wouldn't he? Had he produced that on a night out?
No comment.
So, obviously a while since we were last on. Thanks everyone for joining us anyway. I forgot to say hello. Welcome in the comments. Welcome Andy, welcome Connor, welcome Big Dog, and welcome Mr. H. Not Warstein at Erdingate. It was Heineken, Mr. H, but not the Heineken that you get over here. The proper strong continental type that Matt is a big fan of. So the last pod came 10, 12 days ago. We missed the Orient game, so we'll very briefly talk about that now. Obviously, it was a while back. I just wanted to bring up the stats there just to discuss this. It was the must-win game. Tim, shaking your head there. Raggy's rallying cry certainly whipped everyone up, didn't he? Got bums on seats, people through the door. And we did everything but win. And look at that XG, 4.27, 22 shots, 7 big chances, 8 shots on target. How the effing hell did we not win this game?
I mean, you've got to say everything that was done that could be done to win that game, wasn't it? You know, he spoke about Raggy's rallying call. There was at least 1,000, I think, more than there has been in recent games at that match. Maybe 1,500 more Blackpool fans. Great atmosphere. My first game back in the north after my sojourn into the hospitality, and I was glad to be back there. It was a fantastic experience. I really enjoyed the game. I put on a threat on the FTT that night saying, well, I enjoyed that. And I did enjoy it. And, you know, if football is like that every single week, whether win, draw or lose, I don't complain because we gave everything. And another day we'd have won that 4-2, 5-2. I think we'd win it 9 times out of 10. And I look round the pitch, and I didn't see many below par performances at all. I thought everybody did the bit. Fletcher's miss was incredible, but he got himself into a great position. So I find it difficult to criticise him because his first 2 touches were sublime, and his third touch was like me, you, Matt, or Nick. If we were on the pitch, we'd fuck it up.
To be fair, I think I think all 4 of us in this room, and even at our age today, would have put that in. But we wouldn't have got that.
I've seen you walk in football when you got clean thrown goals. So don't give me that. But no, in all seriousness, yes, we all think we would have finished it, but he was perhaps a little bit off balance. And it's small margins, isn't it? And it was small margins with Ennis's chance. It was, the one I think, the one I struggle with a bit more is Beasley, because why the friggin' hell he's trying, listen, he hasn't played a lot of football, and to chip a keeper at that angle is, you've really got to be on top of your game. And he should have hit it hard and on target.
Because low either side, could have just side footed either side.
Chipping it is an incredibly difficult skill for anybody.
It's not technically a chip though, Tim, was it? It's more of a lob, side foot lob.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. He was trying to still try to chip the keeper. Whether you call it a lob the keeper, whatever, it's still the same thing. He's trying to put it over the keeper in the back of the net, and it's not. It's a difficult skill to perform on the run under pressure. And, it's the type of thing that Wes Hoolan can do. It's the type of thing that, probably D.K. Campbell could do.
David Speedy, remember him? I remember him, sorry.
But it's not a skill I associate with Mr. Beasley. So hit the fucking target is the expression, isn't it? Just drill it. But, equally, what a scintillating game, and I think the crowd played its part. I think every player on the pitch played the part, and I left there thinking, well, listen, again, shit happens, but we did. It wasn't for the want of trying, and it wasn't for the want of Steve Bruce trying to mix up a bit and change it about. Could you have started blocks from the beginning? Maybe, but. He's carrying a bit of a knock still, because obviously, as we saw, as we're going to discuss, he was sub again on Saturday. Maybe he's not quite fit yet, but yeah, loved it. I never thought. Listen, if we'd won it, we'd be more optimistic about where this season could end, couldn't we? Because with the way the results have gone since, both ours and other teams. We'd have been tantalisingly close to those playoff spots.
Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel about Beasley Bisons. Thankfully, he'll be gone soon for the benefit of the audio pod. Nick, look over to Chris Heaney's comments that it was bordering on Holloway's football. It certainly was, wasn't it? It was, as Tim said, one of the most entertaining games in a long while.
Yeah, you can't say we didn't get our money's worth. And you look at those stats, and you probably won't see stats like that in a game for quite some time again. And like Tim says, 9 times out of 10, we probably win it by 3, even 4 goals. I think the disappointing thing was the goals that we conceded. They were both soft goals, really, and particularly that first one, just they've worked the cross in and scored from a header, and that seems to be a bit of an Achilles heel for us, this season or at the moment or recent games. And then we get back into it, and then they go up the other end. I think it was Ennis who gave possession away, and again another poor goal to give away to put them 2-1 up, and. It was frustrating with the chances that we had. I mean, it's not just the ones that have been mentioned. I think you've got to call their keeper out though as well. He made some decent saves. There was, I think, a couple of other chances. One from Carey, another shot from Ennis. And I watched the highlights back just before, because on the day I felt a bit, I think certainly thought Ennis's one where he was kind of on the 6-yard line and managed to hit the post, but watching it back, it was slightly behind him. His header was slightly behind him, and that was a very good save from the keeper. So, like I say, normally you end up winning that. But I think you asked me a few weeks ago, I can't remember if it was on the pod or not, when we were talking about whether we'd make the playoffs. And I said, you know, there'll be a game where somebody comes in as a 1-0 smash and grab, or we miss a load of easy chances, and that's what happened, you know, against Orient. You look at Fletcher's, you know, he's maybe just taking his eye off the ball. He's done the hard work. Beasley, like Tim said, he's not playing week in, week out, and when he's gone through, he's probably caught in two minds as what to do. If that's somebody else who's playing week in, week out and scoring, they probably take it around the keeper or slot it past him. You know, if it's Sonny Carey at the moment, it probably hits the back of the net, or Ennis, or even Fletch. But it was Bees, and he doesn't really play much, and you know, he's probably not done himself many favours there for pushing for a first team start again. So it was frustrating, but at the same time, you know, if you're playing that week in, week out, I think most people would go, I think you win more than you lose playing like that, definitely. And people would say that they've been entertained.
Matt, look to you. Sean says would have allowed to go him had he tried to sit around the keeper and miss. Fletcher's miss was 10 times worse.
Yeah, I think the thing is looking at these stats, you got 22 shots. Unfortunately, it's the two that we're talking about that are stick in the memory rather than anything else, really, isn't it? You know, they were just gilt-edged, and you know, if you're going to do anything in this division, if you're going to win games, if you're going to push into the promotion areas, you've got to take those chances, and that's, you know, that sums up our sort of strikers all season, doesn't it? Really, you know, they're not quite good enough to the very top end of League One, and you know, you can say that maybe, you know, they got in positions and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's their job, isn't it? You know, to put them away. And let's be honest, if they had those chances another 9 or 10 times, you'd think they wouldn't do that again out of those 9 or 10 times, really. But it's just when the pressure's on or whatever, they just don't seem to be able to do it. And that's the difference between, you know, winning and losing games. Unfortunately, you know, we can have 22 shots on target and whatever it is, you know, but you've just got to hit the back of the net, and we just haven't. It's ironic, really, because you know we're actually, I think, 4th or maybe 5th top goal scorers in the division, which probably says a lot more about the division and how actually it's not as good as we thought it was. But yeah, we're struggling with, you know, with consistently scoring strikers throughout the season, and yeah, those two chances are what I, you know, sort of go home thinking and muttering about for the next week or two or whatever it is, than the 20 other ones, unfortunately. But there we go. It sort of took the wind out of ourselves, didn't it? Ultimately, you know, we were anticipating a good home result. You know, we had, like, you know, we've said to the crowd behind us, the atmosphere was good again. And then, you know, once they scored that second goal, as soon as we equalised, that was when we were on, I don't know, suck the energy out a little bit. And then we just blew those two chances, which would have made the difference.
I've just noticed Bison's as sort of critical. We were 14, you know, we made the observations 14 shots off target. But to be honest, I think if you have 22 shots and 8 are on target, that's not bad.
I don't think that is bad. I think you won't get stats like that in many other games this season. I'm sure of it. You know, that you can batter teams, you know, 4 or 5 won't get much better than that, really.
Because of those 14 off target, that includes Beasley's, that includes Fletcher's, and arguably, I think it probably includes Ennis's in the post, because that's off target, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, you know, you.
But Bruce said it a few weeks ago, didn't he? You know, when somebody said about he knows we need strikers. You know, and you know, it's been mentioned at the club why they didn't spend the Joseph money in January. Maybe the striker or strikers weren't there at the right price or whatever. Well, Bruce knows that that's what's missing. We all know that's what's missing, really. You do need somebody who's going to get you 15 to 20 goals. You need the next person to get you 10 to 15, and that will get you promoted pretty much, or they're into the playoffs. But we just don't have it. Simple as that.
Tim, just put this game to bed. Coming from Dennis there. Fair play to Wellens for admitting they got away with it. Refreshingly honest as well, Richie. A manager I wanted in place at the beginning of this season, and they've done a job on us at the end of the day, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, but I think it's fortune rather than by design. I don't think Wellens has come there with a game plan that's negated us, that's stifled us in any way because of the stats. So he's admitted he got away with it, and they did get away with it because I think that game's replayed 9 times out of 10 we win it, and because I don't think you'd have that much ill fortune in if all those scenario games. I know it never happens in reality, but if all those shot scenarios are replayed, we don't only score 1 goal, no chance. And so I think he did get away with it. I think Orient got away with it, and I think it's just that's football. The old saying, "Greasy, it's a funny old game." It's a funny old result that was, because every single stat supports us winning the game. Every single stat.
Beating us twice as well. Cheers for that, Dave. Richard in the comments saying should have kept Joseph, but Dave has shot that down instantly, saying he ain't scored at Hull yet. I don't think there was any point in keeping Joseph, not with the package that he was offered us. I think it was a good deal for everyone, really. So I think we've had the best.
And the way that we will work as a football club, the way that we will succeed as a football club, is being seen by young players as a place to come and carve out your career and get a move where you get the life-changing amounts of money that no doubt Carl Joseph has got as a result of his move to Hull. Ennis is in exactly the same position. He's almost like Joseph 2 years ago, isn't he? And he could see 12 months, 2 years at Blackpool as a stepping stone to a big move. And yeah, we could say, well, we should be big enough to keep them. Well, if we get to the Championship, we might be. But while we are where we are, we can do things like Peterborough have done and Brentford did in the past, and we can nurture players, we can make them better, we can hopefully see them help us succeed as a team and make money and reinvest and rechurn. That, if I wasn't at the meeting, but Simon Sadler said he wanted to spend the money in January but was talked out of it, and on the basis he'll get better value in the summer. So we'll see whether we get better value in the summer. But I haven't got a problem with our front line at the moment. I think the combination of Fletcher, Ennis and Bloxham is better than what we had before the January transfer window.
Fletcher's like having a new signing, the way he's been playing.
We've been unfortunate with Bloxham because he's missed a lot of football since those first couple of games when he really shined. But he's not going to turn into a bad player overnight. He's ours, and he's going to be, in some respects, hopefully, we're going to see the best out of him. We might not see the best out of him this season, but hopefully we will do next year. As he's building his fitness back up. But I think if he'd stayed fit, I think we would be in the playoffs or thereabouts at the moment. I genuinely do, because he looks a class above any other player that we've got. Even that cameo when he came on, the first thing he did when he came on against Orient was help conjure up the equaliser, wasn't it? I think it was his first touch sets up the equaliser. So I'm positive about our front line. I don't think we're worse off from losing Joseph. And Sadler's got to balance the books, and it's a fact of life in League One football. That if you're going to pay wages and you're going to run at a loss, then you've got to do what he's done, which is to bring in a young player and then get rid of him. But Joseph wins, Sadler wins, Blackpool wins.
I think the price we got as well I don't think anybody saw that sort of money coming in for Carl Joseph really at any point. You know, I think if it had been $1 million less, you'd probably be having a debate about whether it was still worth selling. I think at 2.5, albeit with, you know, performance based, some of it, it's we can't really. I don't think we could turn that down. And like you say, Tim, for the player, that's you know, potentially a life-changing amount of money for him.
Yeah.
And I think it's the model that, you know, was talked about when Simon Sadler took over. So we can't really complain if we then, you know, we then go and follow that. And it's only the same then as us maybe going to a division below and buying someone's top scorer. You know, a club from the division above has done that to us. There's always a you know, a bigger club or a club who are in a better position who are willing to put the money in. So I think as long as it's a decent amount and it can be reinvested, then we'll see. And I think going back to your point about the January window, and I think Steve Bruce has made it pretty clear that he sees the summer transfer window where you know, there'll be more players, you'll get better value. And I think you mentioned about the player that they were looking to get, and all of a sudden the club that they were buying from came back and said the price has gone up, and we agreed to it. And then they came back again and said, no, it's gone up again. So it does get to a point where you just get, you know, if you're buying a car and they double the price, you're going to walk away from it, aren't you? So if it gets silly. So there's got to be a point where you say, you know, it's not value for us, and because otherwise you just end up overpaying, don't you? And you're not necessarily getting value for money then. And if a club knows that you've just had £2 million in from Carl Joseph, and all of a sudden they're sticking another few $100,000 on it, it comes a point where you have to say, well, we'll bide our time on it.
I just hope. Sorry, John. Before we move on, I just hope that in the summer we actually do our business early, because I'm quite frankly getting pissed off. Excuse me, French. That we come to the 31st of August and we're still 4 players short of what we need, as we have done for the last God knows how many summers. We need to do it early, get the players in, and then actually have a month's worth of football with the players that we need and want and got. But we don't. We just need to do it last minute, and then we pick up whatever we can in January. I just hope that they've got. I know they have a list and all that sort of stuff, but I would love to actually see it happen early. You know, players' contracts end June, so there's no reason why we can't get 8 weeks business in. But yeah, so that's a different story. But we'll see what happens. But you know, it's getting a bit sort of rinse and repeat, unfortunately. Summer transfer windows for me.
Right, let's move on to Northampton. Last weekend, obviously we've all walked out of Bloomfield Road saying, right, that's it, season's over. I went on holiday, England were playing on the Friday night, so this game away at Northampton almost, it passed me by. Certainly I did watch it on my phone in a bar. I don't know anyone who went. There was a general malaise, Tim, towards this game, but Blackpool have gone there, turned up with professionalism, gone 1-0 up early on in the game, 20 minutes in, from that man again. Great cross from Bob Apter, and expertly guided in with his head by the main man that is Ashley Fletcher at the moment. Who thought we'd be saying that again?
No.
Great confidence to do that kind of header after what's happened in the previous game. That could have really knocked the confidence out of him, but he's responded in the perfect way there.
Yeah, well, going back before that, there's an absolutely fantastic sweeping ball across from Evans, isn't there, to Apter that starts the move off. And I think actually, even before that, Evans had done a similar, maybe not quite as good as that one, but a decent ball that set up a chance. Carey had a couple of chances. But it was a fantastic goal. So, you know, you've got Evans, those who didn't see it, you've got Evans doing probably a 40 or 50, probably 50-yard pass from left to right, straight to Apter's feet. And Apter does a bit of trickery, puts a cross in, and a great header from Fletcher to finish off the move. And I mentioned Evans because he's had a bit of stick, hasn't he, since he's come back from injury, about whether he's, you know, quite at the races and whether we should be dropped and whether we should just focus on a 4-4-2 with with Carey, Carey and mine's gone blank now. Tell them a hard day at work.
Morgan.
Morgan.
Morgan. Just couldn't get it out. But I think the last couple of games, I think it starts with Orient. He's started to show his worth again for me, his real worth, and the way he was playing in the first half of the season, when arguably I think at that stage he was our best player, and I think we're seeing that again, which is great. But it's a fantastic move, and it sort of epitomises, I think, the way that we play from home. We've got this cavalier, counter-attacking game going on, and it really suits away performances. And if you do travel away regularly, you've had a real treat this year, I think, because all our best performances are away from home, aren't they? So, and I was quite confident we'd win the game because we are consistently good away from home. This isn't a one-off. This isn't, 9 away wins with I think three left or something like that. There aren't many seasons when we get anywhere near double figures in away wins.
Can't ever remember double figures, Blackpool away, ever, like my time.
Maybe did we not do it the West Ham year where we got in the playoffs, I think, and maybe even the year, I don't think we did it the year we got automatically promoted. I think it was our home form that was better then. But, normally you sometimes get 9 or 10. I remember going back to the 80s thinking we had a really good year because we won 4 away games.
Yeah, well, when the Billy Eyre promotion season, who won 5 away? 5.
Yeah. I think it was 4, 4 or 5. And we were just brilliant at home, weren't we?
It was slim pickings, wasn't it? So, and it's good because there's and I'm not one of them by any stretch of imagination, but there's people who literally, there's Dave Hart on here. He does it all the time. He goes everywhere, and it's fantastic to actually see the best football for once. Because normally you get the dregs, don't you? You get the odd. Like last season, you get the odd win peppered by a huge amount of disappointment. But when you spend your money and you travel all that distance, and listen, I think if we'd beaten Orient, I'd have been tempted to go. But the fact we didn't beat Orient, I thought. I had a few other things going on, so hence the reason I did the disappearing act before. I just thought, no, I'm not going to go because I'll focus on these things. But after the game, I've been watching it. I'd have loved to have gone. It was fantastic. And long may it continue. We just need to, hopefully find that route through to the home performances in the way that. And listen, Bruce will suss it and he'll work it out. And I think we're not far off. But if you can maintain the away performances and improve on the home, then all of a sudden we are serious contenders.
Nick, now on this, finishing with a plum in the second half to put the game to bed. Not an easy chance by any stretch of the imagination. Made the goal himself, and it was a real class finish into the far corner. Those sort of goals were drilled into the corner. For us, it's been just coming off the post and going out this season. It was good to see it back, nestle into the back of the net.
It was, yeah. I mean, both goals. I didn't see the second half, but I've seen the highlights. Watched the first half, and like you said, for Ash Fletcher's header, really well taken, and for Ennis as well. Because again, he's had games where we look at Stockport, we look at Orient. He's had some good chances, and probably you will be thinking, I should have put at least one of those away in each game, and and hasn't done. But it doesn't let it affect his confidence. He keeps going. He's a very skillful player, and when he got through on goal, it was a fantastic finish. And like Tim says, it's another competent away performance, and it's just a bit frustrating that even in the season where you have average home performance. We would have even if it had been average this season at home, we'd be in the mix. Like you say, nearly 10 away wins is crazy. Someone has said to you at the start of the season, you'll win 9 or 10 away. Where do you think you'll finish? You'd be saying playoffs is a minimum, because you almost take it for granted that you pick up the majority of your points at home. That's always the way. Normally, it's such a weird. You'd
be thinking season. Automatic, Nick. Never mind.
Yeah, well, you would.
Automatic with this away form.
You Yeah, because you certainly, when we're thinking we'd go just shy of 5 months without a home win, and then you go into some of the top teams in the division, and either getting a point or a win and putting in a decent performance like at Wrexham, even when we lost, and then we can't seem to do it at home consistently enough. It's a weird one, and hopefully, if we can address it for next season and follow up that sort of away form, then you'd feel confident. But yeah, I mean, it like you said in the intro, the embers. I mean, I put the pilot light back on the WhatsApp chat. It was a bit tongue in cheek, I have to say, because I still think we'll look at the home form. Is it just going to change all of a sudden, because it hasn't quite done consistently enough yet, and we're in the home straight now. So I still think we'll finish probably round about where we are now, because you're looking at other teams slipping up as well. So, but who knows? Big game on Saturday. We can reel them in a little bit if we can get the win, and then the pilot light burns slightly brighter. But I still think we'll come short.
You might become a Bunsen burner then.
Yeah, I'll have to be googling a new picture for the WhatsApp chat.
Just before we move on to the Bolton preview, just want to address that comment from Bison's. Tyra had a standout performance for me, almost as if he thought, fuck it, I'm coming for crosses. I noticed that. It was his standout performance, and I did notice him dominating his box and coming for crosses. And for me, that was the big minus point to his game, and he's addressed that in that game, and he showed bravery, and he's come on a hell of a lot in the past 2 months for me, Tyra. And we were all very hesitant to keep him, but I think if we could keep him now based on his form in the second half of the season, he'd be a hell of a keeper. So
yeah, I agree. I think he's just looks a completely different, confident sort of character, doesn't he now? I think it must have been the Leyton Orient game where you could actually hear him on the pitch. It was the first time that I've heard him shouting at the back four or whatever. And every cross he seemed to get, comfortably. He was literally head and shoulders above any defender stroke attacker on every cross. And whether he has just thought he's going to, almost play my natural game or whatever, and I'm not sure whether he's going against any sort of coaching, recommendations or whatever. But he does look a totally different character. And, for him, it's great. He's only a young lad. And sometimes we as fans, and I'm one of them, you sometimes forget, he hasn't, I don't know if he played a league game prior to joining us, did he? He played at Chesterfield, didn't he, prior to us? He's
a young lady, according to Dave Hart.
Well, there you go. So... he's getting better each game, though, and if we'll see what happens in the summer, whether he's available, whether he has greater ambitions, who knows? But I think he's probably enjoyed his football much like Carey has over the last couple of months, more than at any time he's been at Bloomfield Road. So, fair play to him, because it's not easy when you've got however many fans giving you earache when you're not doing maybe as well as you would like him to do, but send it around. When I think about Mansfield away particularly, compare that to last week or so, it's cheese, it really is. So fair play to him.
Right, he's been waiting patiently in the green room, so we'll bring him in. Sorry, Ryan, about this. We've overrun ever so slightly.
Don't worry, I was ready for walking off then.
I'm sure you were rubbing your hands together when you heard how bad we are at home, but how good we are away. It's been the story of our season.
Yeah, but we're not very good at Bloomfield Road either, so we'll see sort of two very bad omens bashing against each other. So we'll see.
Is it 1976 since you last won in the league?
Yes, well, on our pod last night, I thought it was never. So, yeah, in the 70s, 76, 77, something like that. So, yeah.
Don't
we've got to break them hoodoos.
Don't we have a similar record at Bolton, though? When was the last time we won there in the league?
I don't really. I don't even recall it, to be honest.
I can't.
I do, because I was there.
Go on.
We won 3-1. It must have been about 1987. We actually played 5 up front, rather bizarrely. It was the era of like Mark Taylor and Keith Walwyn and Craig Madden. And we went to the old Burden, and when it had the Normid on the end, and we won 3. I'm sure that was a league game. I don't think it was a cup.
Because in fact, Ryan, you've got the old shirt on, haven't you? The old Norman
I
shirt.
certainly have. Yeah, there it is.
So I've stood on that terrace next to Normid. So Russell Coughlin hit it with his penalty attempt during one of the LDV games. But no, I think we won 3-1 in the league. I'm guessing it was 87.
I was just a glimpse in my dad's eye at that point. I don't remember that one.
You've got to be a certain vintage, Ryan, to remember that. You've got to be old.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah,
okay,
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, with our new guests, we just get a very brief bit of information about yourself. So just tell us how long you've been a Bolton fan, why you're a Bolton fan, and how long you've been supporting Bolton for.
Okay, so it's always an interesting one. My sort of because my family didn't grow up I didn't grow up a Bolton fan because who my dad supported. I sort of fell into watching Bolton as a bit of my local team, easy to get to go to games. And then we went to an FA Cup final around 2011, got really bought in, and then sort of enjoyed the free fall since then. Obviously, the sacking of like Owen Coyle going down to the Championship and the roller coaster of going up and down from the Championship, League One, and then obviously League Two. So yeah, you get very easily dragged in. We've actually dragged in another neutral this season as well. He's ended up getting a season ticket. It must be what Bolton Wanderers does to you. So I would say about 15 years, something like that. So not as long as most people my age, but I have jumped sides. I won't say who from.
Not P&E, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't.
That would have been perfectly understandable had you done it.
But yeah. I won't disclose any more information though. You've had a lot.
Are you aware of the intense rivalry between Blackpool and Bolton, which kind of slightly before my time, but certainly Tim will be aware of it, that during the 70s, early 80s, Blackpool and Bolton were considered the derby, wasn't it, Tim, around that era?
Yeah, I mean, I missed the old what's now Championship, the Division 2 games, because I was a bit late, not as late as you, Ryan, but I was a bit late coming to it because my dad was a Liverpool fan. So the first game was 78 when I was 11, where quite a few people my age were already going with the dads at that age. So they would, for instance, have been at that Boxing Day game in 1977. That was just the year before I started, and it was the last year. I started, ironically, the first year we were in the 3rd division, where we'd never been before, so we just got come out of the out of League Two. But obviously there is a rather sad history in relation to the first death or murder. Let's get it right, at a football ground that was involved in 1974, I think it was, wasn't it? The 1974 game, and that heralded in fences and the cop being divided in two, and etc. And then there was a bit of a talk about it today, actually, the incredible crowd at Blackpool for the Bolton game on Boxing Day, which I think you won 2-0. It said 27,000, but a lot of people were saying it was the 30,000 plus in reality, because obviously people going through turnstiles and whatever, and it was the most packed I can ever recall Bluefield Road being. So and we sort of, all through the 80s and whatever, we were sort of tended until you went on your upward trajectory. We played each other a lot. We played each other in the LDV. You cruelly. I thought I nearly cried. I never thought I'd go to Wembley to watch Blackpool, and we lost to you in the Northern final. Very, very close game. And obviously, we didn't. This was before playoffs came in, and we didn't know playoffs existed then, or were going to exist then. So it was the LDV, or whatever it was called at the time, was the only real opportunity to get to. Sorry,
Sherpa Van Trophy.
Sherpa Van, good knowledge.
Have some glorious sponsors over the years.
And going to the old bird, and your. I thought they call it. Was it the long side? They called it down the side of there. That was Burnley, wasn't it? Yeah. Something. Anyway, you had a terrace all the way down the length of the ground that was covered. That was always pretty full. Always created a good atmosphere. And we got shoved on the open end and got piss wet through every time we came.
I always remember that pilot, the floodlight sticking through the roof of the stand at Birmingham Park. It was like actually built through the corrugated iron jersey. Certainly was an iconic ground anyway.
Yeah, well, it was right in the town centre, wasn't it? It was always a bit moody when we played Bolton, and there was always partially because of that history, and partially just because we were, it was a little bit like we used to play Burnley quite a bit at that time. And I remember you had McGinley and what's the other guy who played up front with McGinley?
Andy Walker. Reeves and Phyllis Ross.
And then you got promoted, and we didn't see you then for about 15 years. I don't think.
Well, you got it back in the Premier League, I think it was then.
Yeah. And you had a good, you had a good team, and we missed out on our chance in '96 to get back up into the Championship, and it took us another God knows how many years to get back up there. Another 10 years or so. But yeah, so I've got fond memories of playing Bolton. To be fair, it's always been, and I said at home games we've always done really well. But I can't ever, other than that one game, I can't ever remember. Most certainly at what I still consider to be the Reebok, I don't remember us ever winning there.
No, we've definitely had the rub of the green over there. But honestly, we were talking about it last night. Every trip we have to Bloomfield Road, always a great away day. But the 90 minutes in between all that is just, we can never get a sniff there. And obviously we've crossed paths a lot, but I think the more modern rivalries, unfortunately for us, where we find ourselves now is Wigan Athletic, which is sad. When we used to be knocking about in the Premier League and they were nothing. We used to think Man United was a rival. So it's a shame how things have sort of changed now, isn't it?
And of course, you lost the best FA Cup final ever. We've been reminded in the chat that we can't forget that. So
again, my dad weren't even born for that one. So
even Tim wasn't.
No.
Tim was 7.
We obviously had that very famous 4-3 in the Premier League as well. What a game that was. That's one of the best games I've ever seen live.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that. It was sort of kept you in it for a little bit longer, didn't it, before your trip to Manchester? And we'd come off the back of a horrible semi-final defeat to Stoke at Wembley. So I think we were still licking our wounds at that point when we were hoping that game would have to get moved because we would end up in the FA Cup final. And how things have changed now. Here we are talking about League One.
All part of the rich tapestry of life, as my dad used to say. Right, Ryan, tell us about your season so far, particularly the build-up to Ian Everett's departure. What was the mood like at Bolton, and what's it been like since Big Evo got the boot?
It's been a long season, we'll put it that way. So obviously a defeat at Wembley to Oxford, again, where we all went in and thought this has to be our opportunity to finally get back up into the Championship. And we very much crumbled under the pressure. And we sort of knew going into that season that it was going to be a rough season. The mood had completely changed around the club. I think Everett actually was thinking about leaving, which is that a sign that really it's time for a change? And the whole mood around the club was just terrible. Results were terrible. The players seemed to have sort of ran out of steam, and that dark cloud of the day at Wembley seemed to hang over us. And the board were very resistant to get rid of Everett. He had a close personal relationship with the owners, and they wanted him to turn it round. But the more it dragged on, the worse it got. Obviously, you got rid of your manager quite early on in the season. I said in our pod last night that we should have done it around that time. And since Schumacher's come in, that considering he's not had a January to bring any players in as well, the bounce has been pretty positive. Like beating Birmingham, went on like a 4-match unbeaten run, which we'd not seen under Everton. The players look happy, and we're actually, and I think you lot can probably relate to this as well, not playing 5 at the back, not passing the ball around laboured. We're actually using wingers. It's good at the moment. We have come off the back of two difficult defeats, though. So with Bristol Rovers away and Stockport beat us at our place. So the mood has sort of, we've crashed back down to earth a little bit at the minute. So we were all automatics on at one point, but now it looks like we'll be scrapping it out for that 6th spot. But yeah, fans are quietly confident, but Blackpool and then Wigan Athletic didn't go too well for us last season back to back, and we're being realistic at the moment, to be honest.
So since the change of management, you mentioned there a change of style. You're obviously aware that the style that Blackpool played under Neil Critchley, it was turgid to say the least.
Yeah.
Ian Everett's style, pretty similar. Possession's sake. I think fans do get sick of watching that. And how has Schumacher's style changed? And is it more pleasing on the eye, and is it more effective than?
So Everett had a lot of success, didn't he, early on at Bolton, but it's almost like the league ended up with a blueprint of how to tackle his style of play, and Oxford played it perfectly in the final at Wembley. The difference with Schumacher is there's an unpredictability and sort of flexibility to where we play. So some games will have 4 at back, we'll utilise direct wingers. And then if things aren't going well, he'll actually make a change rather than wherever. If plan A wasn't working, he's like, right, we've just got to do plan A even better, which doesn't tend to work, especially when the team you're playing against knows how to play against it. So I think even as Bolton fans now, we don't quite know how Schumacher plays, which must make it difficult for opponents as well. But it's things like not shoehorning wingers and fullbacks into a wing-back position and playing him in the positions that they're comfortable in, asking your strikers to run in behind and do things that sort of come away from the system instead of asking them to play like robots. And I think the players are just enjoying playing under Schumacher a lot more. Obviously, we had some great times under Everett, but I think if the fans weren't buying into it and the players weren't buying into it, well, how's that going to work? And so, yeah, it's more attacking, more attractive. And like we were at a point where we were cheering long goal kicks when one of them happened. Like, so we were desperate for something different.
Sounds so similar, doesn't it?
I was going to say, you know exactly what I mean, don't you?
Exactly the same.
Yeah. And it's probably, there's probably, you know, another league or maybe even more that are probably going through similar sort of issues, aren't they, for whatever reason. It's like everyone's read the same manual a couple of years ago and this is how we're going to play football from now on. But all we want is, you know, 4-4-2 and just get forward and have a go.
I loved it when I saw Bruce played 4-4-1-1 on his first game. I thought they're going to absolutely love that now. But yeah, finally out of it now. The rain is gone, as they say.
Absolutely.
Similarities are exactly the same. Right, Ryan, tell us about your danger men. Obviously, we know about Thomason. Always seems to be up for playing against Blackpool, released by Blackpool. How's he playing this season? One to look out for, and any other players that will hurt Blackpool?
So yeah, Thomason does like playing against Blackpool, doesn't he? He's scored a couple of screamers in the past past 2 visits. He spent a bit of time. Well, Everett gave him the armband at the beginning of the season. He spent a bit of time out the squad, and I think that has helped him. He's sort of come back knowing that his place isn't definite. He puts the work in. He ain't afraid to get a yellow card, and he is that dog in midfield. And you might have noticed Aaron Morley went out on loan to Wickham, who wasn't getting much game time or much luck under Everton. He's come back in January, and he's sort of doing the same. He looks like he's fitter, happier, and a big asset to the team. I think you'll all be aware of Aaron Collins. He'll provide that bit of magic. Even when he's having a bad game, he's got goals in him. Including McAtee as well, who we thought worst £1 million we've ever spent. But you see, when you change your manager and he plays in a way more comfortable to him, he's been scoring goals, and he's actually our top goal scorer. So we've got 2 strikers who are firing. It's sort of probably changed a lot, really, who we would say our star men are, really, because we almost want to get rid of a lot of the Ever out of our team now. But they're the main ones. We've not really got a set defence at the minute. He's still tinkering around with that. We've not got a set goalkeeper even. He's still playing around with that.
Is Santos not fit? I've just noticed he doesn't seem to play.
He's not been fit for a while now. And to be honest, I think fans aren't particularly missing him. I think he was very much an Everton player, and we've got some younger defenders in. We've got Farino coming in, Will Forrester, who looked like he was going to be out the door, has been brilliant under Schumacher. So it's been refreshing. Like Gethin Jones, who used to play every week under Everton, we're playing like Shun from Hungary instead. We're playing Dakaris Cogley at right back, and he looks more comfortable. One big surprise you'd want to keep an eye on is Jordi Osei-Tutu. So he was from Arsenal. Everton played him at left wing back when he was a winger, much to everyone's joy. And now he's actually playing as a winger. He's an absolute world beater, and he'll give your fullbacks a real headache. And I think he's definitely one. If we can play the way I want us to play in that first 20 minutes and come at you, he'll be a real handful.
What side does he play on, left or right?
Left. And then we've got Carlos Mendes Gomez on the other side, who's been out for almost a year. He's come back into the team, and he's playing as a winger as well. And he's a handful as well. I'm hoping we play with those two and really, really go at you.
So we've got Martin Afires of rugby league fame, his nephew, playing as a right back, and he's fast as anything. So that'll be a great tussle. It's fantastic fullback. So that'll be definitely one to watch. Okay, let's have a look at move us around. Team form. As you mentioned previously, Bolton have lost the last 2 games, lost at home to Stockport, lost away to Bristol Rovers, which really surprised me. Beaten Burton away, and then that fantastic home win to Birmingham in a 0-0 draw against Wrexham. Blackpool have won 3 of the last 5. Very touch and go, this game, I think.
You wind that back 2 games as well, and we had the best form in the league. It's just mad how things can change, the bubble can be burst, and it's probably a good thing, to be honest, because we thought we were just like going to walk it until the end of the season, which just isn't feasible. That
Bristol Rovers game was really done you there, really, hasn't it? That was a gimme.
We looked leggy. We looked tired. And we weren't even that bad. We just kept conceding goals. It was just bizarre. It was like a basketball game rather than a football game. The Stockport game was it reminded me of an Ian Everett performance, which I think the international break came at a really good time. So we'll see. It's a bit of an unknown entity, really, what we're gonna get.
So we'll look at the league table. So you're currently on 60 points in 7th, a point behind Huddersfield, which realistically it's going to be 6th, maybe the last available spot, unless Stockport and Charlton have a blip. Blackpool are on 54 points, which is 6 behind, but you do have a game in hand. I noticed on your socials you put Blackpool on the beach. We more or less are, but I think, I don't know, the guys in the room. Yeah, I think it might play in our favour because we've got almost nothing to play for, so it may relax us, and it's a very, very important game for Bolton.
Well, we've talked, John, haven't we, about we lose a game and we say that's it, the season's done, and then the next week we go and win, and you think, oh, you start looking at the table again, and oh, well, if we beat Bolton, you never know. But it's as good as our home record is against them. You've also just got to factor in our overall home record this season, like we've just talked about earlier on the pod, where we went nearly 5 months without getting a win. But maybe the pressure is off us a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see what Steve Bruce does formation-wise, whether he, or players-wise, should I say, whether he brings Bloxham back in to start. We'll see. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, though, from what you've said there from the Bolton side of things. You're playing with wingers, the same as us. You like to go for it, so it should be set up to be a decent game.
Yeah, I mean, Stockport and Huddersfield and Charlton play 12:30 kickoff, which could make it even more interesting.
Ooh.
No pressure or anything.
Who's impressed you this season then, Ryan? Just we'll move on to match predictions. Just who's impressed you this season, and what do you think of League One in general compared to last year?
Well, I thought it'd be I thought last year was our best opportunity to go up. I thought it was a weak League One last year. This year, obviously, the sides going up have surprised, haven't they? Wrexham and Stockport. I still don't think there's that many great teams. Like, there's teams who've had flashes, haven't they? Like Mansfield at the beginning of the season, Leyton Orient. But Huddersfield are awful. Like, they are awful. Barnsley are awful. I wouldn't want to play Stockport over 2 legs in the playoffs. So I just wish we would have sacked our manager earlier, basically. I think we'd have had a much better chance. But yeah, like I said, we lost to Bristol, didn't we? See, on the day, you never know. Didn't expect Wickham to do so well either. I don't think anyone did they?
No.
So it's been a bizarre one especially when you've got like Steve Evans' Rotherham, who everyone thought, oh, they'll be up there, and they've done nothing. Peterborough. Yeah, it's been a strange season, which to be honest, I'm looking forward to see the back of. So whether we're in League One or the Championship, so yeah, weird season.
Yeah, Peterborough, they absolutely destroyed us. They look like world beaters, and I think ever since then they fell off the cliff, didn't they? Right, let's get the big screen back on and go around the room and do our match predictions. Let's start with you, Matt. We'll give our Blackpool predictions first, then you can finish it off, Ryan. Matt, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, being a bit of a stato and listening to what Ryan had to say, it sounds like it could be quite an open game. I was just scribbled them down. So between us both, we've had 221 goals, both for and against this season, which is just short of 3 games. So if it's 0-0, I'll be a bit disappointed. So let's just go be biased and let's say we'll get 2 and they'll get 1. So there we go, 2-1.
Nicholas, over to you.
I'm going to go for an entertaining 3-2 to Blackpool. I can't see us not conceding. Like I said before, I think from crosses at the moment we look a bit susceptible, but we've got goals in Fletcher and Ennis, so I'm going to go for a 3-2 win.
I jokingly said 4-3 on Twitter in reply to the
no, thank you.
Trotter Chat podcast. So I think I'll stick with that just for the lols, 4-3. Now, Tim is normally very pessimistic / realistic when it comes to these match predictions. So take it away, Mr. Fielding.
I think our home form is going to be on doing in this game. I think I'm going to have to go for a Bolton win. I think Bolton are going to do us. Really do.
50 years of history.
50 years of never stopped him dreaming.
So I'm going to go for 2-0 Bolton win.
To be fair, the last 2 times you've been to Reebok, I've seen Tim both times in the away end as well. Sort of with his arms folded. Very no one be pessimistic. So I'm going to go with what I said last night on our pod. So I think it's going to be 1-1. I think it's going to be a battle. But for me, just for my own health and the amount of times I've had things clipped back to me for goal predictions for big games, I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, sitting on the fence there, Ryan.
That's it.
Take the easy option.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I don't care.
And you've got a white cat that's just come into shot and then quickly moved off. Is it white cat by design, perhaps?
Yeah. This one.
Hey, there you go.
Get away, you.
I've got a tangerine and white cat named Mike after Mike Davis, next Blackpool stalwart. Is there any Bolton name link going on with the pet's name at all?
There isn't with mine, unfortunately.
No,
I'd like to say yeah, but no.
Right, Ryan, thanks a lot for your time, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. Give us your insight. All the best, as ever, apart from tomorrow. And,
That's it, lads. Thank you very much.
Let's hope for a good, clean fight tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. Cheers for that.
Thanks, Ryan.
Cheers,
mate.
Thank you.
Right, just before we go, gents, I know we are over an hour, Nick.
There's no time for this. Right, Tyra.
It might be more interesting. It might be more interesting because Bloxham's obviously back and match fit now. So let's pick our team to beat Bolton tomorrow. Harry Tyra.
Saturday, not
Straight in
tomorrow.
there. Sorry, Saturday. I keep thinking it's Friday. I've had a beer. I think the weekend's already started. 2 centre halves.
Baggett and Casey for me.
Yeah, same for me.
Tim?
Agreed, yeah.
Baggett the left foot. Is any of these two left footed predominantly? Matt, you normally know that.
Baggett on the left, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he normally plays that side.
Right back picks itself, I think, doesn't it? Based on what we know as well.
It does.
Now, left back, this could be interesting. Again, based on that intel of that Mendes, whatever his name was, the speed merchant who's the right winger. So perhaps we need to be looking at.
The one he was on about was on the left. It was.
No, he said both.
Mendes Lang was on the right wing, so he would be up against either Coulson or Husband. I'm assuming, you think? I think it would be Coulson.
Yeah,
this is our team, Matt. Remember what we think, what we want.
I think Coulson as well.
I think Coulson. I don't think he'll change the back four. You've got a clean sheet away from home and change it, really.
Okay. Into the midfield. Carey's on fire at the moment as a left-sided midfielder, so I think no arguments. Albie Morgan straight in. 2 contentious positions, possibly. Right mid.
I think the way Evans is playing at the moment, when we go back to the comments, he's not going to not play him, and I think he should be playing as well.
Yeah.
No other options, actually, is there?
No.
Okay. Apter or Silvera or CJ or Bloxham. What are we thinking?
Bloxham on the right for me.
Nick, Matt?
I think he'll probably play Apter because
our team, remember? Our team.
I'll just put my opinion out there. I would play Apter because I think I'd rather have Bloxham coming off the bench.
Nick. Is Bloxham match fit? Is Bloxham match fit?
Well, he's
CJ.
He's had another week of training, hasn't he? Yeah, there's CJ as well. I mean, it's not a bad dilemma to have, I suppose.
Too small for this game. Apter's coming on the back of an assist.
He has.
I personally think Bloxham, give him 60 minutes. Actor off the bench, but that's me.
Yeah, I do like Bloxham. I thought he really made a difference when he started. He was unlucky to get injured, and I think we missed him. Apter's been up and down, but like I say last week, he's got another assist.
He could. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to say he could play Bloxham because he might be a bit more defensively hard-working than Apter.
Great point. That's a great point, Matt.
Yeah, possibly. I will go for Bloxham.
Tom Bloxham gets the nod. Right up front, Tim. I think obviously Jake Beasley starting. Yeah.
I think the front two are going to pick themselves. They both scored last week. It's going to be Fletcher and Ennis. They're starting to get a bit of a combo going. And I think with Bloxham playing in a very advanced role on the right, that's how we're going to cause Bolton problems. Carey's getting shots off as well. So we've got a four in sort of like an arc who are all going to get shots off. I think they're brimming with confidence. As you said, Sonny is. Fletcher is. He's hit his 10 goals. God, I think Adam was a lad last time he did that, and Ennis is always buzzing around looking for something, and seems to be enjoying his football here. So I think that's the exciting lineup for me. That's the one that's going to get bums off seats, and that's the one that's going to get the North rocking, and hopefully give us the best chance of quashing my very negative prediction.
I'm going in the south tomorrow. I moved my ticket.
Saturday.
Do
you want me to ring you up tomorrow, John, just to make sure you go to work?
Maybe he's going in to clean the pigeon shit off the seats.
He'll be like, text me, I'm in Shickers, where are you?
It's because I've actually been in the office today. Normally I'll just shuffle out of bed and shuffle into this box room, and that's me working. I've actually been in. Right, that's the team to beat Bolton. Tyra, Casey, Baggett, Coulson, Fire, Carey, Evans, Morgan, Bloxham, Ennis, and Fletcher. And on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Anything else to add before we go?
No, I'll see you Saturday, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
I might have one more beer. All over the show. Right, everybody, thanks for joining the stream this evening. I'm just going to get the banner up there saying if you want to join our Patreon supporter program, please do. Patreon.com/Teesides Pod. You get extra stuff like our WhatsApp groups, really good laugh, early release, and mastered audio pods that are ad free also. Do like and subscribe to the video if you watched it on YouTube, and all remains to be said. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for the interactions. And up the pool. Come on, let's beat this.
What the
pool?
Been involved in two. Can he make three? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try!